Okay, we are now live on
Yes.
Facebook. Hi. Happy
Welcome back,
Hello.
Mary
Wednesday.
Mitchell.
I'm a brunette now. This is my brunette debut.
It
Um,
happens. It
Pandemic brunette.
It
happens.
looks great.
We love, we
Pandemic
love.
brunette. I feel like that
Pandemic
should be
brunette.
like the Clairol color.
Exactly. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Your pandemic brunette host. I'm Mary Mitchell Campbell.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Dr. Keith Bell. Wellness Wednesday is brought to you by Artists Striving to End Poverty. It's where we bring professionals of the healing arts together with professionals of the creative arts to support the wellness in the community. Again, I'm your co-host, Dr. Keith, and this is the brunette, Miss Mary Mitchell Campbell.
Correct. I'm Mary Mitchell Campbell. I am the founder of Artists Striving to End Poverty and a Broadway music director who had the great joy of working with these two amazing ladies that we have with us today on a musical called The Prom, which closed 1 year ago yesterday, which is just crazy. Wow, what
That's
a lot has
insane.
happened in a year. But please welcome Kinnunen, Isabelle McCalla.
Yeah. Hi.
So I just want to start out, Caitlin and Izzy, um, with how you are coping in this sanity. What is happening in your worlds, and how has this? We are now at the 5 month mark. Everyone, just take a second to
Wow,
let
that's
that
how
sink
time
in.
works. Yep.
That is, it doesn't feel like time, but that is what happened. So I'm curious to hear from both of you. Like,
Yes, and
how are
Caitlin, I'm going to put you on the spot because you did a PSA saying, "How are you really?"
Yeah, I did. We're gonna be honest today because we're honest
be honest?
every day. Don't you worry.
Let's be honest.
Um, yeah, okay, I'll start then. Um, just heavy hitting right off the bat. Okay, so yeah, it's been 5 months, which is insanity. I feel like it is a constant wave. Sometimes are like really good and fine, and then you spike up and things are awful and horrible, and then it calms back down and it just keeps going. Um, but I think that I've really had to embrace my motto of like, take it a day at a time. There is no right answer right now. No one knows what we're doing, or where we will be, or how things will end up. So just try to be here now and be present in the now and not worry so much about what the future holds. And that is like a note for myself. Like, yeah, let's not stress out about the things we can't control in the future. But it's hard to do that. It's really, really hard, at least for me. Excuse me. And so I wrote it out in New York for a very long time. I didn't go outside for like 91 days, I think, in the beginning. I stayed completely inside and in my own little bubble, and then I slowly started to venture outside carefully. And then I recently moved back to Washington State to be with my family. Um, and I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future. I feel like everyone is trying to rush through this moment and saying like, oh, we'll be back, we'll be back, we'll be back. And it's like, we will be back, but let's take our time with it and do it safely and not rush it. And so I'm going to be here until that time has happened, and whether that's 6 months or 2 years, who knows, but I'm here. So
Yeah.
Mary Mitchell, you're on mute.
Of course I am. Izzy, how are you?
I feel very similarly to Caitlin. We kind of had opposite trajectories. Spent the majority I spent 4 and 3/4 months in San Diego because I was doing a show at La Jolla Playhouse when everything happened, when everything shut down. And for the first 3 months, I want to say I feel like I'm very good at going with the flow and just adapting. And I personally needed the time to step away from theater and just focus on myself, and because it was too painful. And I knew that it helped because we were all going through it, and there was no theater to be created, nothing to be had except for the little things that we're doing at home with, YouTube videos or like Zoom readings of plays, which was wonderful. But it was really restorative for me to take a step away and ask what I actually want and find my worth outside of my career. And that was really important and fulfilling. And I did that by doing yoga and meditating and reading and journaling. I mean, literally was just journaling before we hopped on this call. And cooking, I learned how to cook. That was exciting. I think I'm sufficiently mediocre now.
Best dish. What is your best dish? I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know too.
Okay. I have a few. One of my favorites I made was this buffalo chicken casserole. That was super yummy. Also, I started cooking from Chrissy Teigen's Cravings cookbook, and she makes this lemony arugula spaghetti with pancetta. Oh my gosh, so good, so good. I still haven't figured out how. It's really good. I highly recommend it. I'll send you the recipe.
Lemony spaghetti is so good.
Oh my gosh, I haven't figured out how to cook steak properly yet, but we're getting there. So cooking has been fun. Baby steps. But yeah, but it's been up and down. I've also learned that like I am an extroverted introvert, so I need to carve out time for myself where I disconnect from everything, and that's different from being on my phone all the time and writing or watching Netflix, because that's actually not spending time with myself, I've learned. And the more I can, like, I was lucky enough in San Diego to be able to go on walks and to sit under trees and be away for socially distant from people, and just go to the ocean and touch the water, and that was really helpful. I think my birthday was in June, and there was that moment. I think that was the first change for me when it felt like, okay, it's a new year, things should start happening again. No, we're still doing this. Cool. And that was when I had a month of depression. I think that was like my first time, because I personally was ready to move on, but the world isn't, as it shouldn't be. So I had to grapple with that, and kind of like Caitlin said, take every day a step at a time, and just conquer the next hurdle. And I've given myself permission to do that. And I've also given myself permission to feel sad when I feel sad, and also embrace the like little moments that give me joy. Like, so that's been nice too. And I actually just finished a 10-day road trip back east. And my cousin and I went through the national parks. And
which ones?
Oh my gosh, we did.
I love national parks.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. We did Grand Canyon, Bryce National Park, Zion. Oh, Bryce.
Did you do Angel's Landing? You didn't do Angel's Landing, did you?
Well, no. Oh, no, that was closed. We didn't. Because you have to get a shuttle to get there, so that's closed. And we actually pulled off a camp heist. We found one open lot in the Watchman Campground for the evening, which we probably should have, but we scurried out. It was really fun. And did that. We did Arches National Park, and then Colorado sand dunes. There are sand dunes on this continent. It is absurd. Roosevelt National Forest. We went up to South Dakota and did the Black Hills National Forest. And then we moved our way north, went to Cuyahoga National Park and ended at Niagara Falls, and then drove down. And we learned a lot. I think for my cousin and I, it was like a stripping of all of the armor and layers that we put on, and just getting back to, we were very humbled by nature. I was just like so in awe of the landscape. And I was like, we should all aspire to be as great as this land is. Because holy wow, it is so gorgeous, and it doesn't care. It'll be here long after we're gone, So that really reinvigorated me. And now I feel I'm in a good place at the moment. And the land, nature gave that to me. So I feel grateful for that.
Nature is so powerful at restoring, but I just have to say, for someone who loves a road trip and can't do one yet,
I'm so sorry. I should also say we got tested too. We tested negative. We did it safely. That's also an important part. I apologize for bragging.
No. Rub it in.
Rub it in.
One more time, Izzy.
Okay,
Trust me, he
Yeah.
deserves it. He deserves it.
Yes, I do. I do deserve. But no, you brought up something really important. And I don't know if a lot of people know about what a extroverted introvert is. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I'm one too, and people don't understand that.
I think I am too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's people who genuinely love to be around people and talk to people, but at some point we hit our threshold and all of a sudden we need to recharge. And that recharge can only happen when we are by ourselves and give ourselves the time to come back to ourselves. And that way we can be our fullest and most present selves with other people. But it's I think for me, that's the way I describe it, fighting that balance. Yeah.
Good description.
It is,
Thank you.
yeah. And
Wow.
Caitlin, Izzy brought up a month of depression. You have been very outspoken about how to thrive during mental challenges, and you've talked a lot about you dealing with anxiety. What do you have to say to people right now who have all of this anxiety and need to find a way to thrive?
Well, I think Izzy actually touched on it, that it's very important to feel those feelings. And something that I've discovered relatively recently for myself is that we can't push them away. The more we push these feelings away, the harder they're going to come back at us. So for me, it's really important when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling outside of yourself, feel that. Take a day, take a week, take the time that you need to embrace those feelings and really connect with like, okay, like I'm feeling depressed right now. And I think these are the reasons why. I'm going to like take it easy. I'm going to feel these things and then I'm going to come out of it and I'm going to be okay. So for me, that's been a huge realization that it's been like, okay, no, let them sit for a minute. Don't try to push. Don't try to like get yourself out of them, feel them, and then move on from them.
That's very good advice, because people do try to push away feelings that are uncomfortable. And you're right. The more you push, it's kind of like equal and opposite reaction. It pushes back.
Yes.
And you have to be with it and acknowledge it and transform it.
I think that's.
Yeah, and it's definitely like continue.
I was just going to say, as artists, I feel like that's similar to what we have to do when we have to work from where we are constantly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
It's true, and it's important to not, acknowledging it, and like I'm definitely not saying like wallow in it and self-pity and like all of that, but it's like no, just like check in with yourself, feel it, and then move on. Like you do want to try to actively like move on, but you don't want to push it.
Yeah. And I think the more you can understand why you're feeling that way, the easier it becomes to move on. But you can only do that by sitting with it for a little bit of time, I think.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I'm a big fan, but I do find the value in it enormously, and I think it's the only way out is through. Unfortunately, like
yes,
the best way out is to go through it. But you've also both been really great about displaying resilience and optimism, I feel like, during this time, and it's been super encouraging to me to watch both of you. Also, I've just known you a long time and I love you, but also, but the messaging that you're putting out is both optimistic and resilient. I'm curious how that goes. Thoughts.
Yeah. I think that it's so important to have balance, that like it's important to honor your trauma, but at the same time you have to have things that you are hopeful about, because if you're going through, it has to be towards something. And I think that it's so helpful, like finding the little bits of moments that you can be grateful for and things to work towards and things to keep you feeling alive and great, and be like, I think these situations that are technically confining allow us to discover new avenues about ourselves and new directions to go in, and that is super cool and exciting. And I think there's a lot of fun and joy that can be found in those moments as well. And so because Caitlin and I have been fortunate enough to have a platform and a following, we want to express that joy and let our fans know that it is okay to also be happy and to find joy and to reset. Yeah, so I think that's, I'll
Conquer
let you.
feelings and find the joy.
Exactly.
Both can be true.
Yes.
I love
Yes, both can be true and both are valid and important. They don't outweigh each other, they coexist. At least for me. And like, I don't know, I feel like, again, Izzy, you always say it right on that it's like we've been fortunate and been given this opportunity to have a platform to say these things, and it's always been so important for me to represent being a real person. You know, I feel like in this industry on social media, what is represented is not necessarily true or accurate. A lot of what is put out there is this like perfect version of these people, and like I've always been turned off by that, and I have striven to be like the anti that it's like, no, I'm going to be real. I'm going to tell people when I have a panic attack. I'm going to tell people when I have a bad day, so that they know I'm a human being, because we're all human beings and we're all going through this. And so I'm going to tell you the bad, but I'm also going to celebrate the good and let you all in on that as well, because that is being a human. There's good and bad, and it's how we manage all of it that matters. And so I'd rather share that with people than try to put out this like perfect image of myself that is completely like unattainable for both myself and for other people.
You have a quote that you had online, because I've researched you too. You have a quote.
Oh
no. Where you say
Like,
celebrate you and your own unique individual self. And Mary Mitchell was telling me that you have been very active in, well, one, discovering your voice and helping other people discover who they are, and body positivity. You both speak out a lot about what it means to accept yourself for who you are. Can you both talk about your message about body positivity?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it again goes back to like, let's not pretend to be perfect. We are all human beings. We all have different bodies and minds and souls, and that is what makes us special. You know, it really is about celebrating your own unique you. We are all unique in our own individual ways, and that is so cool. I mean, it sounds so cheesy to like be saying that, but it's like, no, what makes us cool is that we're all individual and we all like think different thoughts, and I don't know, embrace that, and like don't judge yourself for that, and especially don't judge your form. Like, be kind to the thing that houses your unique self, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like. It's, I don't know, I am tired of being mean to myself because of what society has told me is right. You know, like the amount of times that I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I gained a pound, like, and I don't have worth now. It's like, no, screw that. We do have worth. We are so much more than what we weigh and what we look like. Can we all just accept that and embrace ourselves for that? Because it's ridiculous to not. That's a very long tangent of things, but it's like, come on, just be nice to yourself.
Yeah, an important tangent.
Yeah, it's very important. Izzy?
Yeah, everything that she just said, and I just spent 10 days not having a mirror, and it was so wonderful because I hadn't realized it, but like I felt a confidence in my body that I hadn't had before, solely because I wasn't checking in the way my form looks every day, and having this voice in my head that unfortunately is beat into us, especially as women and in this industry, that we have to look a certain way to get the certain roles or to be desirable in any way. And even those of us who, like Kayla and myself, who strive to be people and performers that rise above body image, we're still victims to it, right? We're still susceptible to those voices, and it's it was so wonderful to feel a confidence in my body that had nothing to do with a number or a look, but it just like, am I strong enough to climb this hill? Great. That's all I need. I'm gonna eat like whatever. I had so many burgers. I didn't care what I ate. I think that's something else too, is like finding the balance in nutrition. Like you said, I'm so tired of putting energy into what I'm eating and how I'm eating it. And that a lot, that voice in my head comes specifically for me from when I did Aladdin. And I went from two extreme thoughts, like where I just ate whatever and I didn't care. And then all of a sudden was just like examining under a microscope everything that I ate. And I feel like I'm just now starting to find a balance between the two and celebrate my own body. And I think it's so much easier to see other people and not put value on their shape and size, but it's a different thing to reinforce that every day. And I think that has to become a practice. We have to tell ourselves every day that we are worthy and beautiful, regardless of our fluctuating weight and size. Because I mean, we are constantly going to change. That's just a part of it.
We've talked a lot about affirmations in this series with different people, and the way that kind of, it really makes an impact. And I think for me, one thing my therapist once said to me was like, would you ever speak to someone else the way that you're talking to yourself?
Yes. We don't say the things that we say to ourselves to anyone else, because we don't do that in a like, well, I'm lying to you, but yeah, you look great. You know, like we have to treat ourselves how we treat our best friends. You know, we lift them up, we support them, we encourage them. Like, why is there this block of like using that kind language to ourselves?
Yeah, agree. 1,000% agree. And it's hard because it's sort of weirdly programmed.
So you have to
practice. Weird. Yeah, you have to unlearn it.
Yeah. You do have to unlearn it. And I was thinking about this today. You know, we say things like, I am overweight, or I am ugly, or I suck. You know, it's kind of like when you can just say right now, or I'm angry, or I'm frustrated. Instead of saying that, you can say, I feel angry. I feel frustrated. Today, I feel like I weigh too much. And it kind of opens it up, because we're not identifying it. We're just saying it's a feeling. Feelings are transient. And so we can replace those with the positive thoughts, and it's very powerful.
Yes, feelings change.
Quickly. They're like the wind. Yeah. Izzy, I have a quote from you too.
Okay.
It's actually under your Insta account, where you say, be kind, don't take yourself too seriously, and stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
You both are telling people to get out and vote. You're telling people to stand up. Talk to us about standing up, finding your voice and standing up for what you believe in. And being kind.
Yeah. Baseline, politics is personal.
Right.
Actually, I think I think there are so many people who have been brainwashed into believing that their voice doesn't matter, especially because of the Electoral College if you live in a blue state. But we are now learning how important state and local elections are. And the one good thing that came out of the Trump administration is the fact that I think a lot of people are waking up that normally would not have participated in politics otherwise. And one great thing about that happened during this pandemic is we could not be distracted when the Black Lives Matter movement took off. So because of that, we all had to look in and be like, oh, we're all broken. The system is broke. Okay, cool. How do we fix it? And the only way to start fixing it is by electing officials who will change it from the inside. And of course, idealistically, it'd be great if you could just check out and not have to abide by these laws, but like that's irresponsible and unattainable. So voting is the most important thing that we can do. And I'm just going to plug my friend's organization right now. If you live in a blue state, there's this great organization called Swing From Home. You can find it on Instagram. And it's my friend Ryan Vasquez, and he connects to local state and local candidates running for office across the country. and we phone bank for them an hour and a half. Yeah, every day there's something new on the agenda every day, a new candidate that you can reach out to. A lot of times the candidates are on the Zoom call with us, telling them about their platforms before we start phone banking. And it's been really great to speak to people across the country about what is important to them. And one thing that I've learned through phone banking is we actually want very similar things.
We do.
Everybody pretty much does. It's just we have a different idea of attaining that. And so that I think has been very cool to connect with people and get out the vote and actually like invigorate people to vote. And I think that was what gives me hope, is talking to people who were not so sure and now are seeming more inclined to participate in the electoral system. That's my spiel about voting.
Great.
Yeah.
Caitlin.
I mean, yes, all of that. I don't think there's like much more that can be added to that, but just like I think it's it just goes back to like, yes, use your voice, stand up for what you believe is right. And especially now, like, we do have power, we do have the option to help this and to potentially, I don't want to say fix it, because I think we're a long way from things being fixed, but we have the ability to make an impact. And so make that impact, use your voice for good, change something. You as an individual do mean so much, and you can affect other people. Don't ever think that your voice doesn't matter, so use it.
Yeah, because the people have something to gain from us being silent, those who are oppressing, you know. So it's
For sure. And you guys have a lot of younger followers as well who are probably turning 18 and are just now able to vote,
Yeah.
which is such an important moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And
It
I
is.
think so important to I don't know, I feel like people kind of ignore that age and ignore the fact that like there are a lot of kids turning 18, and so start talking to them before they turn 18. Get them invested in this early on so that the second they turn 18, they are aware enough and educated enough to make their own decisions and to think for themselves, instead of coming into it being like, no adult has ever talked to me about this. What do I do? You know, like, have the conversations from day one. Don't wait.
Yeah. And I think the more we can practice being wrong, the better, in the sense that I feel like kind of going back to like that we all kind of want the same things. I think we've lost the ability to have a discourse and have opposing arguments and perspectives and writing it out until we get to common ground, because usually there's going to be something that'll connect us. But we have to be able to be adaptable and to let go of preconceived notions and evolve past and get better than to come together. And that I think is pretty cool. Also, in terms of the Gen Zers, just like funny, not funny, but you know, maybe the best thing that Trump did was ban TikTok, because I think the Gen Zers are going to come out in full force now against him. Just so silly.
But it is. I agree with you about being able to be wrong. I don't know if either of you follow Brene Brown. I'm sort of obsessed with Brene Brown. Yes. I mean, come on. And one of my favorite mantras that I've been like really listening to lately of hers is, I'm here to get it right. I'm not here to be right. It's a good one, right, Caitlin?
So much.
This is so important. It's so important to accept when you're wrong. You know, I was doing a workshop, I told you, Mary Mitchell, a few weeks ago on the boomerang effect. And the boomerang effect is when we're trying to convince people that we're right. And what it does is it has the opposite effect on the people we're talking to, and it makes them dive deeper in their convictions. And so instead of condensing that my point of view is right, we just have to open up and listen. And then if we are convinced that and open up and change. But it's kind of what you were saying, that you have to be willing to accept that you don't have all the information. None of us do. And we have to be willing to admit that we're wrong. And we need to listen to people and have that dialogue that y'all are talking about, instead of just, here's my point of view, I'm right. Because
Yeah.
the same way, yeah.
And it goes like, for me, those things are very similar of like us talking about like the harder you push our emotions
Hmm.
away, the harder they're going to come back at us. It goes
Yeah.
to these conversations that you have to be able to like take a breath and listen to each other, and then you can have a conversation about it. But if you're just pushing, you're going to get nowhere. And so like for me, it's always been about like, how do we have these open dialogues with people? How do we listen? And how do we have these conversations from a place of kindness and love? Because that is the only way that we're going to get anywhere. If we
Yeah.
fight with hatred, we will never win.
So this brings me to y'all's show that you did together, The Prom. I know you had to have changed some lives of some kids that saw you on stage and saw themselves represented on stage for the first time. Can you all just share like an important moment of influencing a child or another person in the characters that you played in The Prom?
I mean, again, this sounds like cheesy, but I think
We like cheese.
they
Hmm.
were all important moments, and they were all important conversations and important like everyone who came to see the show was important. Every opinion that came to see the show was important. Every impact that we had on that audience was important. There was no like, oh, well, we only told it to this one person and that's why it matters. No, we were telling it to everyone, and everyone's opinion mattered, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And it just, I don't know, like, it was such a collective love, and a collective energy that was put out. So it was really special and wonderful that we were able to connect with these people, no matter how old they were. That was something that was so cool about the show, that what we weren't just affecting kids, we were affecting adults and every generation. And so to see them come and be affected by the show and have their minds changed because of the show was so special. To have these kids come up to us and say, I haven't come out yet. You gave me the courage to come out, or I'm out and proud, and this just made me want to like do that even more. Gave me the courage to like have the conversation with my parents that I haven't had. And then the older generations who would come and say like, I wish I had had this when I was younger, so I had these tools to work with. It just, the whole thing was so much too much good.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the above. I remember even just like one stage door alone. I talked to a girl who came out to her parents at the stage door right then and there.
Oh,
Felt
wow.
the strength to she was felt seen enough and supported enough that she could do it, and her family embraced her. And then a couple people later, I spoke to this girl who was from Minneapolis, who was terrified to come out, who realized that she was gay, and her mother was at the end of the stage door line and did not know how she was going to embrace herself and embrace her truth and finally come out to her, because she came from a very homophobic family. She was terrified. And then a couple people later, there were adults who said, I didn't get it until now. I'm so sorry, I did not understand what my child was going through and didn't accept them for who they are, but now I do. I mean, and to have like three diverse perspectives like that was incredible. That was a privilege to be able to hear their stories and hear how we affected them and represented their lives. That was an incredible responsibility and honor.
Yeah.
And I am.
How dare you?
What?
Somebody snuck in.
You.
Hi!
Hi.
Cheers. It's Broadway's Beth Level.
It's
Oh
Broadway's.
The Prom.
Yay! You can tell
Mama.
we don't like each other at all.
hate you so
You're
much.
the worst.
Oh, I
Go
know.
away.
Hi, Mary Mitchell. Hi, everybody.
Oh my gosh, it's so happy to see you.
I'm so good to see you too. Oh my
We were
God.
just talking about the prom and how much it affected all of our lives and the lives of people who saw it.
Absolutely. Like no other show I've ever been in.
Agree.
It's still and I keep thinking that, even though we closed a year ago yesterday, I still feel the energy of the show grows and it reaches people, and I just think it's going to be so amazing, the life that will continue to change because of a simple thing called musical comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it just impacted and imprinted on us and the audience and everyone that saw it. And that's why we do what we do when we are able to do something like this. Like,
Yes.
The arts are essential to wellness. We've been saying this the whole time.
absolutely, it's so essential. It's so essential.
So
How's it
essential.
going?
It's
So,
good. And everyone's very excited to see you.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I have questions. If some people see, I've done homework and everything. And
Wow.
and I put on pants.
I did not put on pants.
Hang on. No, I didn't.
Why?
It's Wednesday. Isn't Wednesday pants day? It's like, no, that's Thursday.
No.
It's
Today's
underwear
Women's Day.
day.
Oh, that's more.
So Caitlin and Izzy, you may not know, but this is the point of the show where we have lightning round questions, and we have a surprise guest come ask you a series of questions.
This is the best.
The best.
You ready? You ready? Okay, Izzy and Caitlin.
Yeah.
Both of you answer me this question, not at the same time though. What are the favorite
Okay.
things you do for self-care?
I face masks. Not the new kind, the old kind where you paint it on your face and then you just sit for 20 minutes while it like and then you wash
Hey.
it off.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Going and face mask. Thank you.
Yoga and chocolate.
Duh.
Together.
Same time. Yeah. Just have a
Duh.
bar.
Good
have a
answer.
bar,
One,
it's good.
I haven't practiced this often, but one time I accidentally did some drunk yoga and it was really fun and felt really good. You have to be very careful, but it's a good time.
Yoga.
And never combine drunk yoga with goat yoga.
No.
Or maybe you should.
Or maybe you
I'll
should.
try it. That sounds like fun. I'll be the guinea
Oh
pig.
boy.
All right. Question number 2. Is that me making noise? I don't think it is.
No, it's me. There's an airplane flying.
Cool. It says like an airplane. There it's gone. What do you love to do first thing in the morning?
I have terrible morning habits and I get on my phone right away and it makes me happy.
There's no wrong answer.
That's good.
No,
If it makes you happy.
it does. I just like to see what my friends are up to and respond to text messages and like say hello to everyone while I'm still in my cocoon.
I love that. That's good. I like to lie there silently for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And just slowly wake up.
Just
And then maybe
the slow
Yeah.
wake up kind of thing. None
Exactly.
of you have to reach for coffee and have that quiet time.
I have I'll have coffee about like an hour later, but I often will like read a chapter of a book to start my day
Really
of something. Yeah.
amazing.
That helps.
Kind of slowly get you into the day. Very good answers. All right, how about this? If you had to choose beach or mountains?
Beach. I'm a beach girl.
Mountains.
Beth, what are you?
You struggled with that one, didn't you?
I did. Well, because there's a caveat to the beach that it's like I do love a beach, but it's got to be overcast. I got to have my sunscreen on, have an umbrella. Like it can't just be like a beach day. A lot of prep goes into it.
mine would be not so much beach, because I associate beach with a lot of activity and a lot of energy and a lot of noise. But if you ask me lake or mountains, I would probably have to say a lake at the mountains.
Yeah, I
Yes.
was
Cabin on the
lake
top of the
is-
mountain.
Because since I'm asking the questions, I can do what I want to do.
Right.
Yes, so I'm thinking we can all be at a big cabin, lots of
Yep.
rooms at a lake with low energy, but really good food available.
Oh,
I miss all of that.
Yeah.
That's my
like
dream.
endless
That's my
buffet.
dream.
Oh, I mean, seafood.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Seafood.
Here's
And
When are we
what,
going?
drunk goat yoga.
with drunk goat yoga next to this all-you-can-eat seafood buffet.
Seafood buffet.
When are we going? I'm gonna go on Airbnb now.
All you can eat seafood buffet. All right, here's an interesting question. How do you deal with being angry? That's a hard one.
It is.
That I continue to learn and learn again and again and again.
Am
Yeah,
I
I don't
angry with someone? Like at
I'm not-
somebody? Are they in my vicinity? Or just anger in
Izzy,
general?
answer the question, okay?
God damn it. Okay.
How
We're
do
really great.
lightning round.
I'm so angry that you. How do you deal with your anger? How do you deal with being angry?
Well, okay. I feel like I'm not angry very often. Anger is not a feeling that I feel often. That's not my go-to. I go to sadness. Ooh, fun. But when I am angry, it's usually over like very specific things, and I get really angry when I feel like I've been wronged in some way. And so for me, it's really about processing like what exactly is the thing that made me feel this way. So it's about like trying to deconstruct it in the moment, and sometimes this can be very fast, sometimes this can be like a week-long thing of like deconstructing it, but like it really for me is about breaking down the information that my brain is receiving of why I'm feeling this way, and then like breathing.
Yeah.
Goat yoga.
Go yoga. Yoga.
Yoga.
Drunk goat yoga with chocolate.
Pretty
Yeah.
healing. Interesting, Caitlin. You have a
That's
nice
good.
process.
I mean, but also like that's the process I like to like think I have. I feel like Izzy, you've probably seen me really angry, and you're like, she doesn't do any of that.
I don't know what you're talking about. Kidding.
You know,
You're not. No, neither one of you. I know none of us are very. Have anger. is
No,
not our
none of
first
you are.
thing we go to. It's the last thing when I've deleted every other choice or
Exactly.
every other emotion. Then
yeah.
you have left me no choice. Now I'm angry, and I cry. And I cry. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, just cry. Izzy,
Same for me.
Yeah, I have to step away first. If I am like if something is really angering me, I have to get some space, and I either take a walk or I journal and I write it down kind of the same way, like to deconstruct and understand where it comes from, why I'm feeling angry, so I don't blow up, because I can easily blow up and I take someone down verbally, or not like in an angry way, in a mean way, but just in a way where like I will poke all the holes in your logic, hopefully.
and you're
but
saying
if I'm
you're
too
saying what you're feeling. You're
Yes.
saying what you're feeling.
yes, but the thing is, if I'm too angry, then it's just blah instead of why this isn't okay.
Here's
And
what
so
I'm feeling. Yeah.
so I have to step away in order to not be a ball of the Tasmanian devil.
There you go. I find it interesting. Mary Mitchell, what do you think? Do you think women is a generational thing and a Southern thing, that I was trained, for lack of a better word, to never be angry, that it was not
completely
acceptable?
It was
And
our programming, I think.
Exactly. And I have fought with that, or how to be constructively angry or positively angry, just to take care of myself, because you can't bottle everything up. And I'm hoping that my children's generation and Izzy and Caitlin give themselves more permission than I felt I did, and realized how healthy it is.
Agree. 1,000% agree.
Now
For
that,
me,
Like,
being
it goes
angry is
back
like
to what
a big thing.
Yeah.
it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that it's like,
Yeah.
feel that feeling, you know, don't push it away, because the more you push anger away,
Yeah.
it's gonna get worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
the-
You got to
Comes
understand
out
it
in
and
weird-
channel it.
Yeah, it'll come out in weird ways.
Yeah.
That's the
It will
thing.
come out in weird ways.
And
Yeah.
that's
If you
where I
don't
feel
deal
like
with
my
it.
Southern passive aggressiveness will come in.
oh, it's terrible. Or a year later to be like, slam, and I thought I looked good in red. You're like,
Yes.
remember 3 years ago when you said that? It's like, really? You couldn't just express something? No, had to bottle that shit out. Lord.
Nice tonic.
I love this question. Name 3 sounds that give you peace or that you
Ooh.
love. 3 sounds that, my number one thing is thunderstorms. I will stop whatever I'm doing, and live in whatever thunderstorm is close by. And now, if it's not there, I have sound machines that will imitate thunderstorms. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but it gives me such a great sense of peace that I love it. That's one. Your turn.
That's awesome. Grasshopper crickets at night.
Ah,
That's one. Love crickets. The ocean, waves,
water. Yeah.
and John Legend's voice.
I got the Chrissy Teigen cookbook too, so you got a lot going on
Oh,
there.
you got it going
Yeah.
on.
This is true. They're my
Some of your,
ultimate.
some of your posse.
John Legend.
Mine would be crickets, rain, but like not like a storm rain, but like a heavy rain that you can hear through buildings. But
Washington.
again, not like a crazy storm situation. I don't like storms or thunderstorms or anything like that. And then this is really nerdy of me, but the sound of a theater full of people, but in complete silence together.
I was going to say entrance applause, but it just makes me so under entrance applause, and I don't know. No.
I love entrance applause as an answer.
That's amazing.
Entrance
You're just
applause,
happy.
exit applause, and
Oh my God, that's
Applause.
so
applause. Oh, those are good.
good. When you enter a room, Beth, just gonna do it from now on.
Yeah.
Her to not be angry when she walks in the kitchen. Children, you better start that applause.
So I have to tell you, years ago we did this because there's a humorist and psychologist out of Harvard who talks about how to have a great day. And one of the things she had us do was when a person came to work, we had a standing ovation for them. And it completely, we just picked a person a day, changed their energy
Aw,
when they
Really?
walk.
Amazing.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah.
Secretly, why all of us. Just
I'm
some
gonna start doing that
acknowledgements,
to my dad.
some applause.
Do it.
That's a good one. My final question is, where do you think of as home?
Oh.
Particularly now.
I have
If you could see what's behind this staged organization here, you will see moving boxes lined up because we're moving next week.
Oh my
So
God.
this question really was like, wow, that's deep. Home. But I ask you the question that you get to.
I think home is like the feeling of home is wherever you have people that matter to you. And I think that can be many different places. So like for me, New York is home because my friends and like chosen family are there. But then also this is home because my family and loved ones are here. And I think that I think it's wherever love is.
That,
Aw,
I'm cross-stitching that. Wherever, home is wherever.
wherever.
And
That's
yeah,
a really
mo-
gooey answer for you.
oh, it's
I
beautiful.
love it.
I love that answer.
That's so good. Yeah, similarly, I think home is whoever you feel the most, or wherever you feel the most yourself, or the least artifice, where you don't have to put anything on and you can just exist and be present.
Yeah.
And furthermore, as a nerdy, cheesy moment, we were driving back, I did a 10-day road trip back home.
Cross country thing.
Yeah, it was fun. And on the way, my cousin and I were listening to In the Heights, as you do. And in the finale, Lin-Manuel has a line, "I found my island. I've been on it this whole time. I'm home." Got to that point and I burst into tears. And I realized that I had kind of suppressed how important New York is to me and how much I love that city, and because of the love, exactly what you said, the community, and it represents, I feel like, all of us at our fullest potential and why we love to do what we do. And I love the people. I love who I am in New York. I love my home. I love my bed. I love my bookshelf. I love you guys. Yeah, so New York is a good spot.
Yeah, that's not nerdy at all. That's so beautiful. We had a competition the other day. A group of us get together on every Tuesday night, summer in California. And it started out just as, the quarantine, we're losing our minds. And it's become almost like our weekly therapy session. And we had a competition the other night, because we are all of a certain age, to see who has moved the most. And in our industry, one of the perks is that we travel a lot. And honestly, I have had so many homes that I think at a very early age, I had to realize home is more than just the physical place. I'm home when I'm with Adam. That's where my home is. So, but we've moved like 16 or 17 times. And that's our normal.
Yeah.
That's just our normal. That's my home. And I wouldn't change any of it. Those are my questions, and you had beautiful ansers.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Thanks, Belle.
Bravo.
I love you.
I love
Love you so
Don't leave,
much.
don't leave.
I'm not.
So
I have a busy schedule today. Your pants on, don't.
We're gonna end this amazing episode of Wellness Wednesday. Ladies, stick around for our reunion. Keith, Dr. Keith.
Yep.
Dr. Keith.
Thank you all for joining us. Next week we have Dr. Joan Borisenko, who is one of the founders of Harvard's Mind Body Clinic and an expert in mind body medicine, psychoneuroimmunology. And we're going to be talking about resilience and the science behind resilience. So join us next week.
I'll be watching that.
Mm-hmm. Joan's fabulous. Joan's fabulous. And I think we have a special guest who's going to jump in on one of these lightning rounds. And it's going to be at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday, brought to you by Artists Striving to End Poverty.
Okay.
See y'all next week.
Woo.